Young people have been living as how they were nurtured, how they observed around, how they were taught, and how they were trained at home, schools, and among other social institutions. Among other reasons, they were exposed to a much commercialized society and a dominant system that is very inclined to the few elites. As how the socialization process of all beings went on, it's how beings act and interact. Boys were told not to cry because real men are those who don't cry and must be the ones to be heard and listened if decisions were to be made. Girls were taught to do household chores, nurse children and their husbands. These are only few history-rooted perceptions of every social rule. According to WRI, gender is a social construction of ideas that defines the rules, belief systems and attitudes, images, values, and expectations of men and women. It contributes heavily to power relationships, not only between men and women, but also within each group. This results in many social problems. A natural law that if there is too much oppression, marginalization, and repressions, the victims will react and do a counterforce. Women and feminist struggles emerge not from out of the blue, but there are concrete conditions at reasons. All over the world, struggles are everywhere, but still a lot should be done. WRI added that different cultures have different ideas about gender, about what is suitable for men and women to do and to be. International and local laws, covenants, declarations, and policies, and among others, were sealed. But as what have been said by all experts, so many things still to be done to totally end all forms of violence and oppressions. Why? Why women are still neglected and victims? To struggle for change is a very challenging journey, particularly in Mindanao, that is living with the tri-people conservative cultures like Lumad, Bangsamoro, and Mindanao migrants. But a few were open to discuss and recently we're discussing now. Of course, with the struggle of women and the participation of few men, we will be asking young men, women, and representatives from LGBT communities in Mindanao on how they perceive gender and its relevance in their efforts of bringing peace in Mindanao. They were gathered by the principles of peace, ecological balance, youth empowerment, social justice and gender equality under the Alliance of Mindanao Youth for Peace or AKMK from different communities and organizations.
Para sa ako, empowering activity o maayos ng activity nga dapat buhaton po sa men, lalo-lalo na para mahibawan ang karapatan o katungod sa mga kababayan, their rights as women, o para po ma-empower po taon sa po ay dapat pagtrata nato sa kababayan. O ang violence against them, nakita po nato no, nga mas dako nga mga incidents nga o kadaghanan sa mga incidents, ang mga violence against women are done by men. So nakita nato nga mas maayo or mas para sa ako mas empowering siya nga activity kay tungod kay ang mga kalalakian sama nako mahibaw-an, madiskusan ang mga issues o ang mga katungod o ang mga pagdaog-daog sa mga kababayan aron sa siguro sa pag-struggle nato or sa pagtabang nato sa kababayan, makita nato kung asa daay ang mga kalapasan sa mga kalalakian o unsay iyang dapat papil o matabang dito sa mga kababayan.
Personally, I believe that family is a basic unit sa society. O dira sa family nagasugod ang pagmold sa isa ka katao. So unsay atong gina-expect kung dira pa lang sa family kanang wala na nakita na ang oppression, nakita na ang mga biases, nakita ang kanang grabe ka kagubot. So sa ako anang first akong ano jud nga tagaagda ko pagtagad sa men ang domestic violence. Ilabi na ilahang mapalaluman ang cycle sa violence tungod kay kaning ang violence manggod kung dira niya na-expect dira niya na-experience sa iyang panimalay, dira niya nakita adlaw-adlaw iyang na-experience, pagawas niya sa ilahang balay dili unconscious man siya sa uban niyang mga gipangbuhat, pero kadtong violence nga iyahang na-experience iha to siyang mao gihapon to iyang pagabuhaton sa iyang friends, sa iyang peers o didto sa community kung asa siya. O dili ni siya mawala, ang cycle dili gid na siya mag-end, magbalik-balik ra gihapon na. So kana tagaan og dako nga pagtagad sa men nga makuha na siya ng mga issues.
Ang issue siguro para sa ako bilang isang babae nga kailangan tagaan og pagtagad sa mga lalaki, parte or sa among ang struggles as women para sa among empowerment siguro kay ang pagkuan gyud sa kanang pagrespeto sa unsa man ang sa ikaingon sa babae, kanang proper akong pasabot kay murag proper representation of women when it comes to decision making, kay murag sa karon nga mga panahon siguro kanang sa gender violence or sa mga violence against women dili pa man gyud medyo hinay-hinay naman nagkawala karon. So siguro ang isa na pud kakuan kay mo to siya nga madunggan pud ang among side og makuan ang sa part sa babae nga para sa empowerment nila madunggan pud ang ilang thing.
If I am to assess as an LGBT the relevance of and the significance of the men's workshop, I guess that is really helpful. The workshop had been an instrument for them to understand, for those men and for the men participants to understand the struggles and the issues and concerns that has been confronted by women and LGBT. We think that prior to the workshop and prior to the camp and prior to everything, I as an LGBT, part of the struggle of the LGBT, we think that men doesn't have a contribution at all because these men are the ones who are really oppressive to us. These men are the ones who bully us in every single minute of our existence. So it has also been a sort of let's call it a contemplation or an avenue also for me as an LGBT that this man could contribute and could help us in our struggle, not only for the struggle of the LGBT, but also for the struggles that are also confronted by women. So we felt that there has been a gradual and slow transformation also on my part that these men could be a contribution. So we could heighten our struggle. We could be successful in our struggle if all the sectors of the society, the men, the women, the LGBT, even the youth farmers, even the students, the struggles of the students. If only these sectors would unite, I feel that the struggle would be successful at the end of the day. That these men could help us, and as far as the gender struggle is concerned, if there is only a simultaneous agitating on these sectors, if there is also an enlightenment for these men, no, they would not just drink in the streets and bully us. Maybe I guess it was also an ideal thing to say, but I am hoping that at the end, the men could not just if there is an LGBT walking in the street, no, they would no longer bully us. They would welcome us in their room. They would welcome us in their sphere that are dominated and and also on the sphere that's widely practiced by men. So I am hoping, and at the end, that the workshop could really be an instrument for the men to really welcome us in their world, without biases, without without prejudices. No, those things, those ideal things, I say honestly, cannot be attained by a single workshop. But the workshop that has been conducted in the camp has been a stepping stone for us to also not to be biased to men, and for men not to be biased onto us. So we've been attaining for this so-called peace. So I guess the workshop for men, for LGBT, and even to women has been a stepping stone for us to understand each other's issues and concerns, because I felt that the pursuit of peace, as far as the gender issues and concerns are concerned, could start by understanding. So I commend the men participants who have been who had introspected and who had welcomed and who had understood our struggles and the struggles of women, and their contributions, their contributions to help us in the struggle.
While different groups and movements were advancing peace and development, it is necessary to include the gender concerns. As peace advocates, we must be also gender justice activists. It is impossible to change the world without women's participation. In this context, young people's participation also means necessary on how they see things and how they behave. As we are organizing young peace activists, alongside gender justice activism must be integrated. Orientations, discussions, and exchanges are a requirement to have a coexistence, respect, and common understanding. Worldwide, it is clamored to change it for the better, and there is no bright future without preparing the young generation for that future we aim for. Involve them and creatively encourage them to be socially aware. Gender and social justice means peace and change, and a must framework for all.